Hi everyone, it's Louis Fernandez here with the LRF group here down in sunny Florida, and I'm with my colleague and partner Daniel Hall up in I don't know if I should say in sunny New York or in cold New York. How's things happening up there, Daniel? How's the weather?
Hey, Lou. Yeah, good morning. I'll tell you what, it's actually a beautiful, beautiful day today. We just came off of a terrible past few days. But just to give you a little example, let me just kind of peek around here a second.
Yeah, I love this.
Just to give you this, I'm in my little conference room here this way. But just to give you, excuse me 1 second, I'm going to take this out of here.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay. So, to give you an example of what we're dealing with today.
Oh, beautiful! I love it. Yeah.
You see some
Beautiful
of
office
these,
up there.
57th Street right here, right on 57th, right here,
Sure.
Millionaire's Row. And it's just a magnificent day. You can kind of smell all the opportunity in the air out there.
That's right. Let me tell you, I was up in New York in October, and actually, I'm back now in April 18th. So I'll be there for the next 3 or 4 days for the conference, the real estate conference, and I'll stop by and say hi to all my friends at the office. But yeah, it's I'd see that New York is coming back. It's finally opening up its doors again for business.
That's right. It really is coming back, kind of with a vengeance. It's kind of a crazy thing. Rentals are up over 30%. Supply is actually inching up week after week. We are seeing supply increase. So I guess that's a good thing for some buyers, and it's kind of showing the market leveling off a little bit. But it's kind of a unique situation because at the same time, contract sales are up. We had what do we have? 600 new listings hit the market last week. 400 went under contract. So it's almost like a neck and neck where things are coming on, but supply is inching up. So we're still inventory's low, but it's slightly increasing as we go. So I guess you could say we're kind of seeing, things kind of slow down a bit, but overall things are still very hot, very strong, solid. Everywhere, it's Manhattan, the outer boroughs. So we're really rocking and rolling here in New York.
That's great. That's great. I think it's about time, right? I think it's about time
Sure.
that people get back to, back to the old normal that I like to say, and just get out there and just do what we do best, and that's live our life and take care of business,
Right.
And
That's right.
and New York is a great
It's
city.
great.
It's not going anywhere. That's for sure. Let me ask you something. The buyers there that you're finding where are they coming from? Are they by nearby states, or are they coming from abroad, or?
We're seeing a mix, really. We're seeing, a lot of young folks also coming back. Pandemic still had that effect, it kind of shifted everyone up. So we're still seeing a lot of people exit the city, but there's a newer, a new young crowd kind of still coming in. So we're seeing a mix right now. I actually just joined the Global Business Council, having my first meeting on the 13th, just to go over some of that, because you're still seeing a ton of foreign money, a lot of foreign buyers. I guess, the dollar here, the folks still want the money, their funds here. So we're still seeing a huge amount of foreign buyers come in. But, you're seeing a lot of shift up. So, it's kind of forced folks into retirement. And I think that was probably one of the good things about pandemic was just letting people reprioritize their life a little bit. So, but really, as far as the city is concerned, the commercial end is still struggling a bit. A lot of empty storefronts still, but things are still certainly coming back very strong. And it's exciting because even with the housing market, the buyers, it's not like back in 08 and 9 where banks was giving out this free money and created this balloon. We don't see that here. It's still 30, 40% down. Even 20% of buyers at this point were cash, all cash. So, that's solid because you're seeing the price increasing, but they're still matching it with huge down payments. So I do not think we're creating any type of bubble or anything like that as happened in 8, 9, and 10.
So you're definitely on the mindset that you're very robust in New York real estate that it's turning around, and it's turning around in a really strong way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The thing about it is,
Really,
go ahead. Go ahead. You gonna say something?
it really is.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. You gonna say something?
It really is.
Go ahead. You gonna say something?
No, no, you're fine.
No, you know,
Yeah,
I was,
no,
I
no.
was looking at a report that came out of New York in terms of the rental market. You know, we were talking about that earlier before we came live. That there's about 20,000 units in New York that are not right now being available for the tenants because of the issue there of the rent control problem that you guys are,
Yeah.
having there of the rent. And then so what's happening here that the landlords are saying that they're not making enough money to be able to do the upgrades to their units, and because of that, they can't put these properties back on the market. And of course, the city and the mayor and what have you, they think otherwise. So, that's going to play a little bit of a role to factor into keeping the rent high. I think artificially high in the city. Do you agree with that, or what's your assessment with that?
I mean, I do agree. I mean, I think we have a housing shortage in general here, and I think that with all the rent stabilized apartments, I mean, I think it's necessary because I think people have to be able to live and afford to just live comfortably and not have to worry, check by check, can I cover my rent? But I don't know if the mayor's 100% doing it the right way. Like, we have affordable housing in some of the, like I said, I'm a billionaire's row here. So you have these beautiful, gorgeous buildings along 57, and then in some of the lower floors, they're mixing in some affordable housing units. So it's causing a little bit of confusion, and it's I don't know if it's really the right angle to go. They're putting up homeless shelters, which again, I understand it, it's necessary, and I think that we need to help everyone that needs assistance, but I don't know. I think we have to really sit and I think community planning because, just to keep rent stabilized, exactly, like everything else goes up. So these landlords cannot afford to maintain the buildings. And then you start seeing things collapse and explosions and unfortunate things, fires, because maintenance wasn't up yet. So I think it's a very fine kind of line. It's very difficult to kind of navigate the whole thing, but it's certainly an issue and it's pretty big.
It's something I think that needs to get resolved sooner than later, unfortunately. And you're talking about since the last time we talked, I think the war, in Ukraine, I think it's made an impact with investment, not only outside of inside of Russia, but outside of it, of course, and also in particular in cities like New York City and even Miami, by the way, and things of that nature. Is that impacting in an adverse way the market there, or I did a YouTube video not too long ago about the oligarchs actually in building their role that they're selling their properties. Some of them are selling it on live on the market. Other ones are actually silent sales or secret sales. So of course, because they don't want to draw any attention. But how's that played out so far in the city?
You have. I've seen kind of communities come together to kind of support, and so you're seeing that happen. Some local establishments are having fundraisers and things, and people grouping together. So that's definitely nice to see. I haven't seen any direct impact to me as far as, at least with me personally, related to the real estate, where someone has decided to make a move or not or something. So I thought it would have a little bit bigger of an effect than I'm personally seeing. Anytime war, let's face it, obviously no one wants war. So you see that kind of shakeup and it makes you just kind of say, okay, I'm not doing anything. I'm keeping my money here, But we're not. I have not seen that, at least in my business. Everyone is still very active. It's talked about. No one wants it, but I just think it's so. There's so much there that it's not so clean cut, and I think so you have a lot of different opinions. Most of them all don't want the war, obviously, but I haven't seen that directly impact anyone's buying decision relating to the war.
And the Asian market, is that coming back also back into the city itself? Is that you've seen
it? Is absolutely, and in the outer boroughs.
Yeah, right.
Seeing a lot of it. I would say a little more so, in particular in the outer boroughs. Where we just sold something in Harlem, and even in Brooklyn and in Staten Island for that matter. But you do an open house, and 7 out of 10 buyers are from Asian descent. And that's great. I mean, really, they're fueling the market, and it's like anyone that immigrated here at one point, all of our families. You have that influx of people, and I think it's great for the economy. I think it's great for a lot of things. So, but we are seeing that right now, at least, certainly in some of the outer boroughs that I've been working on with my listings, I would say 7 out of 10 buyers are still over 80%.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty solid. And they're outbidding everyone. I mean, they're getting. I mean, I literally had 100K over ask just 2 weeks ago on a property, 14 offers, and it was just unbelievable. And so, the seller looked at you like, hey, you're underpricing my listing, but it was such a great price. You just kind of really nailed it, but it was still on the high end of what was out there. So I was like, no, not at all. And meanwhile, still went 100K over. So
it's crazy, I mean, it's crazy because it sounds like you guys are actually the South Florida market. I mean, that's what we've been experiencing the last, I think, I would say maybe close to 2 years now. That our market has been just totally, I mean, I've never seen it this way, I mean, for example, back in 2018, we had for single family homes right here, if you take Miami-Dade, Broward, and West Palm Beach, single family homes, you had at any given time in the active multiple listing around 16,000 single family homes for sale. We're down now to 4,200 homes in those 3 major county areas. The condo market, and it's very similar. We were 2018, 2019, we were about 28,000 units in those 3 counties. We're down to less than 8,000. And so, and that's why, that's why things are tight, right? I mean, the rental market here is also, it's very tight as well, because as buyers are being pushed away from the purchasing side, of course, they're flocking to the rental side, and that's driving up the rental market, as well. We're we're in an area that we've never experienced. I mean, at least in my personal professional experience in the last 20-something years. So it's very interesting, and we're seeing a lot of businesses moving down to Florida. Unfortunately, I'm taking a lot of it from you guys from cities like New York City, from Connecticut, New Jersey. From that Northeast corridor is very important to our market. Down here. But we're also seeing buyers from Chicago, from California, from states like that, and also from Atlanta.
Wow.
From Georgia. So it's I think what's happening here is Florida also has a very open business policy, right? We have no state income tax here, and it's very pro-business. So I think it's been re-examined by the North Americans. They say, hey, you know what? And on top of that, of course, we got a beautiful weather. We have the beaches. We have, So I think it's a perfect combination to come down here and not only to move down here and to live, but also to set up shop. And we're seeing for example, Microsoft and a lot of the hedge companies are coming down here, occupying spaces in Berkshire, leasing 50,000 square feet of spaces. Which which in years past, we never saw that. So, the point is this going to continue? And that leads me to my next segment part here in terms of course, the war is one problem, how that impacts our real estate market, but also the inflation. The inflation is we're at 7.9%, the highest we've been in 40-something years, right? So I think the consumer index is, I think it came out. It's one of the lowest, levels, in years. So these are the type of concerns how buyers perhaps might retract a little bit, right? In terms of maybe think twice before they're going to buy a home or what have you, because they're worried about their bank account. I mean, is that played at all up there in New York a little bit? Because right now we're not seeing it down here, but how is that? Is that something when you sit down with a buyer to say, hey, look, I was anticipating maybe buying X, but now I want to, keep it, much more of a conservative price point because I'm concerned about what's going to happen in the next 12 or 15 months.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you have buyers that are still just anxious getting in there, but most of the buyers I'm talking to know it's not the best time for them to buy right now. They feel it. I mean, they're showing up to open houses, and you have 30 people at the open house waiting to get there. So I agree. They are But that's kind of why it's a little bit of a tricky market, because nothing's really lining up, and things just like interest rates came up. We think that would normally level things off a bit, but we're still seeing, maybe people rushing to get there before they rise any higher. But I mean, Florida has always been amazing, especially New York, because you always had, what was it called? They call a snowbird, I guess, right?
Sure.
They go back and forth, and that no income tax is huge, especially because a lot of city workers, they retire, they have that fixed pension that they're getting, cops and firemen and things. So that's huge to move there. So I think that's a huge benefit of Florida. New York obviously is New York.
It's a world capital. It's not gonna. Listen, New York is always going to come back, and so no one's counting out New York. I'm not. There's no doubt about that. Even so much so, I'm surprised how quickly it bounced back, right? And especially in the higher end market. I mean, you guys are clipping at a rate that's incredible. I mean, it's before the pandemic, especially at the higher end. So it's something to be, I mean, my gosh, and that's actually, I think most of those buyers, it's like you mentioned, they're very domestic buyers, right? I mean, they're from local, they're either, from the area in nearby states, and that's an amazing fact.
That's right. No, it really is. It's exciting to see, and it's amazing to watch the market, how it transitioned, even just from, say, 1 year ago, how inventory was probably at a high at that point. It was just, people, like, during mid-pandemic, I'm saying, it was like great to be a buyer at that point. So now it is here, just about 2 years later, mid-pandemic, and it's at almost record lows. So it's just within a 2-year swing of how drastic the market can change. It's amazing. It's amazing. But,
I think. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I'm saying I've enjoyed it. I've loved it. And we all, thankfully we've been able to make some sales and do it. But it's really just been amazing, just connecting with the people, really, just learning the people. It's not, as we do it. I mean, I don't consider ourselves, although I always kind of say we're a lot of just liaison between the buyer and the seller to find them what they want. But when you help somebody get through that process, it's just such a meaningful feeling. It's like you help them navigate through this, and especially during these times when things are just so crazy, to help just sit and educate people and do it. So it's been an amazing 2 years of trying to talk people out of the city, staying into the city, coming back, and just the whole dynamic of it has been really an amazing roller coaster, really.
Yeah, no, I think that's wonderful to hear. Down here, again, going back to South Florida market a little bit, one of the complaints that I hear from my team, and sometimes I have to tell them, I say, listen, guys, this is really what's happening here. And of course, agents are what the agents are. They're going to complain that the market's really tight, especially if it's a seller's market. There isn't any listings. That the inventories are very low. Clearly, they are low, but actually, there's as many listings being taken, properties, and for those who don't understand the terminology, listings are properties getting ready to be put on the market, by the multiple listing services, of each cities or states or what have you, and and these are there is, since if you measure down here in South Florida for 2018, 2019, there's about 40,000 properties that were on the market, in terms of listing taken, and in Miami-Dade and Broward, and last year we had about roughly the same. So it's not a matter that that we can't get properties, for sale. It's just that they're going so quickly. It's just drying up the inventory so fast. So there's listings, to be captured up there. If you're a realtor trying to find a property for your buyer, the problem, of course, is that supply, aspect of it, right? And so, so the interest rates, I think, like you pointed out, a couple of years ago, it was around less than 2%. Now we're at 4.6, pushing 5% rates. Right. I think it's the highest it's climbed, and and since they've been measuring it. So still 5% or 4.5%. It's still historical low numbers, to be honest with you. I mean, I remember when I was a kid growing up. I mean, the rates were at 12, at 18%. I'm giving myself my age away a little bit, But people were buying properties then at that time still, so we're a little bit been spoiled, right? I mean, the rates, at 5 or 6%, that it's still very attractive rates. However, one thing that the buyer needs to be aware of is that each time the percent raises by 1 percentage point on the rates, they lose 10% of the purchasing power. So, and also conversely, the seller has to adjust as well. So there might be a little bit of a tapering off part, and whereby as the buyers need to make much more compromising issues in terms of what they want to purchase, the sellers also, I think, will have to concede as well in terms of their asking price and drop it accordingly to a certain extent. So, and that I think is beginning to play into the market a little bit, and we'll see what eventual effects that's going to happen. But we're still short, even if the rates go up, Daniel. Even if the rates go up at 6, 7, whatever, we are still short nationwide about 5 million homes in this country. I mean, that's the problem. So when you have that short in terms of homes availability for potential buyers, if somebody needs to buy a house, they're going to find a way to buy a house. And so this is something that until you cure that problem in terms of the construction costs and of course going back to the supply chain, that you've got the construction cost of building is skyrocket about 40%, and so developers and contractors are they're trying to keep up pace with the demands. Unfortunately, the final product is sometimes out of reach for the average consumer, right? So it's really a catch-22 type of thing, and I think the elephant in the room here is that inflation. We have to tackle that sooner than later, because it's eating away. It's a tax, right? It's a tax to the consumer. Exactly. It's one of the most onerous taxes that you can get, to be honest with you. I mean, and it eats away the buying power. So I think if there's any issue that's going to really put a damper on the real estate market, it's the inflation rate to a certain extent. Clearly, there is always going to be a segment of buyers that's not necessarily going to be so much effective, but to everyday buyers and sellers, that's a problem.
Yeah. It's a very good point, and you're right on. You're right on, and that's what I agree. That's the biggest thing, because it's the rates go up, it's going to drive prices down a bit, because it's all about affordability. So now, you have that fixed income. What you qualify for. Those rates bump up, like you said. That could be a 10% hit on someone's price just because of that rate increase. So, but I mean, I guess we'll see. Hopefully, this increase will kind of tackle the inflation a little bit. I think there's a lot to that, obviously. I think there's so many levels that's on there. The war, obviously, of course, and all different things. But that's an issue. That's a huge issue, and that's, I believe, the number one concern right now with everyone is the inflation. And I mean, anything. You go to the grocery store now. You go anywhere. We're all feeling it in our pockets, where you're seeing this $20, $30 additional hit on almost everything you do. And at the end of the month, you're talking hundreds of dollars that you didn't spend the previous month. So it's pretty scary, but hopefully we're on the right path. And like you said, the housing market, I think, always people are going to have to sell. No matter what, you have the empty nester, you have the newlyweds who are married. These folks, they have to downsize or get a house. They're not overly concerned, but it's the middle group. It's like just kind of letting people get in there, or have the American dream and afford it. Where now we're going to be pricing them out with the high interest rate, and that's basically what I feel I see happening right now, because I haven't seen prices come down yet, where interest rates are still going up. So at the end game, the only one that's really going to hurt is your first-time buyer, because they're essentially going to be pricing them out of the market.
Right.
If prices don't come down to meet that mother and father dual income, if they're going to be priced out because rates are too high and prices are too high, this is where you can see people shifting out and moving, when you see other states do well, not even Florida, maybe more Midwest and things like this. So
it's something that we all have to watch as realtors and as consumers in general. Clearly, we have to see where the economy's headed and with the inflation, because it's, and I mean the gasoline down here for us, it's I don't know. I mean, what's the price of gas in New York? A gallon of gas up there now.
I mean, we're still. It's like you can still get it through high threes, low fours. You can still buy it.
Right.
You're right.
Well, I guess and exactly. Down here, we're around the fours and change. And if you want premium, it's you're at $5 practically, and that's like I mean, just a couple of years ago we were at half of that. And so it's really all those type of things that we talked about, about the inflation. It's something that it's biting into the consumer's pocketbook. So we have to really, that's going to be a challenge for all of us.
One good thing came out of it. From all that, I did take my bike out of the shed the other day.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Instead of spending $120 to fill my tank, I said I'll take my bike a little bit some places.
Well, let me tell you something. Hey, Daniel, I tell you what, the weather right now is really beautiful in the Big Apple. So I think you should take advantage of it. Right? I mean, the winter. I mean, was the winter pretty tough, or was it mild? I mean, what type of winter you guys had up there?
It wasn't as mild as the previous year. It wasn't a tough one though. It really wasn't tough this year. I mean, it was colder than typical, but we did not get hit with a lot of snow this year. We had a couple of storms, so it wasn't too bad snow-wise. I enjoyed the snow. I like skiing, all that too. So like shoveling so much anymore. But yeah, it wasn't a bad. I was just talking to my daughter about it because I probably started getting cold, and now we're probably somewhat cold 6 months out of the year here. It's unbelievable. It's really you're wearing your jacket. The summer, then it gets so hot. So the weather really has been kind of crazy. But overall, I would say it was certainly, I wouldn't say mild. Like it was chilly, but no snow. So it was still it was a decent one. It wasn't terrible.
I mean, I can also say down here in Miami that we had no snow this year. So I mean, I think we're batting 1,000. So I can. We're happy with that record. Hey, listen. So, what's happening? I mean, you got any new properties, any listing you want to talk about, so you can share it with our viewers? Anything's happening on the?
Excellent. Yeah, I just listed two nice studios actually, right downtown at 88 Greenwich Street. Very nice building. All state of the art, rooftop gym. Really 5-star building. Those are great. Those are fantastic. And, we're getting some good action on them right now. One of the tenants in there, one got COVID right now, so we're a little bit on pause for that. Mm-hmm. But that's amazing. And what we're also seeing pick up, and I'm also a big fan of, like I said, skiing in the woods, and going up there to kind of vent and see a mountain and a river, is moving upstate and heading up north a little bit. And you go upstate, it's literally could be 2 hours, which would be, we say, the furthest you would have to go, and you literally are in a different world. And that's why I love working with you, Lewis, as well, because you're always back and forth and have a property that we spoke about you introduced me to. So this is going to be coming on the market very soon, and we can share that next time we speak with some photos. But it's a lakefront property, just a beautiful way to get away. You're out of here Friday afternoon, within an hour and a half, you're lakefront, having a cocktail or coffee or whatever, relaxing. It's just very tranquil, and just a nice spot. So I would tell you, I have a beautiful lakefront property in upstate New York. We have things here in Manhattan, we have things in the Attleboro. So, it's still a great time. There's plenty of inventory, and I would love to share these properties with you a little more visually. I didn't bring those here now today, especially that lakefront property. It's a pretty unique, nice piece.
Well, I tell you something too. I mean, if I was living there permanently, I would I buy it as an insurance policy for the next, God forbid, pandemic. If I need to get away and spread, my elbows a little bit, because that's, I think, it was one of the reasons that, that people were realizing they were living in these condominiums and, in the city, and they had to wait about a half an hour to ride their elevator, up to their floor, and then only to find out that they couldn't use their amenities. The pool and the gym was shut down. So, I guess that's what they started looking at each other and they realized. They say, listen, you know what, we got to find a bigger place to live, and that we have our own ability to have a little backyard and do our thing without being told we can't. And I think that's what was driving that migration out of the city itself to outside. And of course we picked up some of that down here. So So yeah, I mean, definitely that property it sounds really nice. You know, I would love to see it. You know, next time we get on air, I mean, we can post it later on Facebook and have your contact information. Hey, so the office, is there an area there that you work, Daniel, a little bit much more? Tell the viewers more or less what area do you concentrate in Manhattan alone, or you're outside Brooklyn?
It's really Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Staten Island.
Right.
You know, those are the three areas. You know, I had my own office for many years and ran, mortgage company there. So Staten Island was a little bit more of my bread and butter. I was born and raised there. I've been in Manhattan for over 20 years as a broker. So this is really where I like to do my business. But the Brooklyn market's been so strong, you can't not do it. So for the most part, the three areas, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Staten Island. And again, we just sold something in Harlem, have something in Queens, so we have something upstate right now. So it's you kind of service your clients wherever they need, but for the most part, that would be my area of focus for sure.
That's awesome. And the office is in Madison Avenue. It's 598 on Madison Avenue, and it's on the 40th floor, right? And I'll be seeing you very soon in person. I saw you when you came down here a couple months ago, I believe, and you came down and I was trying to convince you to maybe stay down here in Florida, but I need you up there. But
that's right. It was tempting. It was tempting.
It was tempting, right?
You have it pretty nice down there.
Yeah, no, we do. I'm not complaining. You know, I mean, I guess I see a lot of traffic here, a lot of congestion, though. That's which we've always had, but now we actually are having worse. So. But it's not bad. It's not bad. I think we're doing okay. But listen,
what would be some of the highlights you would point out? What would be some of the pointers you think? Why some New Yorkers would come there?
Well, listen. Look, it's like what I've mentioned. Florida is always open for business, right? I mean, we've got a state that's very pro-business oriented, and one of the main features, we don't have a state income tax down here in Florida. And so we've got a lot of land opportunities here for commercial properties, and it's not only in South Florida, but in Central Florida. Let me tell you something. I was talking to an agent, a colleague of mine up in Northern Florida, and they're moving properties at a pace that they haven't moved ever, and so. If you're coming down to Florida and you want to look at something that is still price effective, I mean in terms of being very competitive, Central and Northern Florida that's the place to look at. I mean Miami right now is very price per square foot. We're not there exactly like in Manhattan. Clearly, there's certain parts, but things are being priced out, right? We touched that about single family home, the condominium market. etc. And I tell you something, going back for a second, with the condo market right now, it's been, in the last couple of years, it's been pretty flat. But now it's been an uptick, because since buyers can't, that we're looking to focus on single family home, they're being priced out. The condo market has also been another option for them. But they're predicting that the appreciation rate in the apartment units down here are going to jump around 10 to 12% this year. And of course, the sales tell no lie. I mean, the inventory is shrinking. It's not shrinking as fast as a single-family home, but it's getting there. And the other concern is that the developments of new projects, as well here in Miami and South Florida, it's not keeping up with pace. For example, in between 2000 and 2010, we had at any given time about 275 projects being developed, condominiums being developed. And then in the next 8 or 9 years after that, from 2010 to 18, there was like about 175 projects. We're now scheduled only to have about 16 projects for the next 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
And most of those projects have already been sold out in pre-construction. Again, so, the condo market right now, it's still it's a good market to buy into, but that door is closing very quickly. So I would say if you're looking to buy something here in South Florida, in Miami in particular, and you want something that hey that you can, especially just close your door, walk downstairs, go out shopping, do restaurants or what have you. If you fly in and out a lot, I think the condo market is a beautiful thing. But that price point though is increasing at a rate that, as well as we're seeing in single family homes. So we're really in a really fickle here, in terms of the rental market's tight, the condo market's tight, the single family homes are tight down here. So I don't see that leveling off anytime soon. Again, bearing in mind, inflation, the economy, something tanks. Hey, look, all those things, all those metrics change, right? But then again, that's if I had a crystal ball, I guess I wouldn't be sitting right here. But the fact of the matter is, no offense, clearly, but I think that at the end of the day is that it's this is really an area that we've never been experienced down here in Miami. Can you imagine 4,000 homes, single family homes in the three major county areas? That's where we are. Wow. And that's where we're starting off this year in 2022, right? We're starting off with at that price at that inventory level at 4,000. So I don't know how we're going to make up because we were coming from a higher point at 16 or 14,000 homes, but now we're starting off at 4, and so it is interesting. It's an interesting.
That's amazing. Wow.
So anyway, so that's what's keeping us busy down here, and we have been really busy, and we're very fortunate that we partner up with you, Daniel. You're a good colleague, and you represent the team well, and of course you have your own experience of many years in the industry. That's why I feel very confident referring business up to you as well. And as a matter of fact, I think I've referred more business up to you in the last couple of months or the last 4 or 5 months than vice versa. But that's the way it goes. Sometimes you go. And and it's funny because the people are buying up there in New York. They're looking for properties up there, and so it's a really neat, it's a nice experience.
No, thanks, Louis. Likewise, I feel the same way. It's great, connecting with you guys, being down there, and have a great team. So I'm happy to be a part of your team and an extension of you here. And I certainly hope to reciprocate some of those referrals because I do appreciate it.
No, don't worry.
I'm sure we'll get some down there to you as well, too.
No, don't worry. We're all good.
I'll be your first referral. I got to get something to my wife.
I think your wife definitely wants to come down for sure. Yeah, no, I think so too. Well, listen, Daniel. To wrap it up, it's been great. We'll do this again, and we'll touch base. Is there anything you want to say before we say goodbye? Is there anything to look at out there in the horizon for any?
I'll just say it's always great talking with you, Louis. Don't sit on the fence right now for some people. I think the time to act is still now. There's good opportunity there. I don't think nothing's going to change drastically wherever you wait, except rates will be going higher. So I think it's a great time. I would tell people just to get out there and act now and make a move. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, Daniel. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Take
care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.